What's up, Rideshare World? Truck Driver here. Another week and another message from Uber about major changes to drivers' earnings. In my last video about Uber's upfront pricing, I mentioned Uber's forever changing algorithm would soon change again. And man, I hate being right. And this time, it's a major change. This week, Uber announced that it would roll out Trip Radar in my market of Greater Philadelphia. And in this video, I will quickly rip through what Trip Radar would look like and how it will affect all drivers. But first, I would appreciate it if you could quickly smash that like button to help promote this video and my channel out with YouTube's algorithm. And in doing so, here's a picture of a baby wild boar as a thank you. Now back to the video. The message starts out saying, more earning options, extra trip requests for you to choose from. Since last week, trip requests in your city have been showing how much you'll make and where you'll go. It's not uncommon for drivers to become more selective as a result of this change. Gee, you think? So, we thought you could use some extra requests to choose from. Well, what a way to flip it around and make it appear as us the drivers want this. Tomorrow, we'll expand Trip Radar to all UberX requests in your city. First, of course, we'll become more selective if we know the BS fare pricing up front. And what do you think is going to happen to longer trips since you lowered their fares on long trips? Second, see what they're doing here? They are gaslighting us to believe that us drivers wanted this Trip Radar. This isn't good for us because I can see this forcing us drivers to hurry up and select a trip before some other driver selects it. Uber purposely designed this to make the driver trigger happy and therefore less inclined to read the trip details first. The message continues. Until now, each trip request was sent to only one driver at a time, and it could sometimes be a while until a driver decided to take it. Oh well, Uber, drivers are here to make money, so crappy trip requests always get declined no matter what changes you make. We didn't sign up to drive for a company called UNICEF, so we're not driving for charity. Message continues. And if you didn't like a request, all you could do was wait for the next one. So, we are launching Trip Radar. First, us drivers are fine with declining crap fares and waiting for another one. And with this wording, Uber is making it seem like we, us the drivers, wanted Trip Radar because we didn't like waiting. Smart, patient drivers will wait for profitable fares, while dumb or newbie drivers think they have to constantly stay busy to make money. This isn't true in my market, but maybe it is for others. Second, because Uber doesn't like that drivers are telling them to go pound sand when they hit the decline for crappy fares, they are now going to pit us drivers against one another and make it a competition to grab the fares. Message continues. Trip Radar shares some of the requests with a handful of drivers at a time. And with Trip Radar, you get to see requests you would not have seen otherwise. So now us drivers will be competing directly with each other for rides. And I wonder who is the real winner here. It's not going to be the drivers. And if you're in a busy area, I guess it's probably now going to be a fight for every single ride. And my question is, what happens if you see 3 offers at the same time, but you pick the higher one and lose out on them? So I'm just back to sitting around, and Uber says it designed it so we didn't have to sit around. Anyway, it continues. Plus, you can review Trip Radar and only raise your hand for requests you like. Yes, Uber, I'd like to raise my hand for a bunch of profitable trip requests only, please. But all jokes aside, though, I am curious about the raise your hand feature. It continues. Once you get a match, we will let you know, and you will be on your way. So like I mentioned a minute ago, you could still be the first to accept a fare, but Uber's algorithm will give it to another driver because they are either closer and or accepted it for a lower amount than you did. But more on that later on in this video. So, what will Trip Radar look like on your Uber app? Well, Uber did do a soft Trip Radar rollout in my market this past spring for only Uber Eats. So I was able to kind of see how it works a little bit. But here are some slides to help answer those questions. What's new? Keep an eye out for Trip Radar when you are not on a trip. So you will hear this new ping sound from Uber, and this Trip Radar button will appear on your screen. And notice how it says when not on a trip, which I'm guessing it means that you'll only receive one offer at a time when currently with a rider. Review options. Trip Radar shares some requests with a handful of people at the same time. This means Trip Radar shows you requests you would not have seen otherwise. So After you tap the Trip Radar button, this screen will pop up with multiple offers. When this happened with Uber Eats, I could see up to 3 or 4 offers at the same time, and I remember it was very hard to decipher all the information and compare all the fares against one another, so I would always go after the higher dollar amount Uber Eats deliveries and lost out almost every single time because they were faster with the trigger finger, closer to the destination pickup, and probably accepted it at a lower rate than I did. Tap to select your ride. You can review Trip Radar requests and raise your hand only for the trips you would like. I am very interested in seeing this raised hand feature because maybe you can set like a dollar amount that you would only accept or a distance. I'm not sure, but I can't wait to check it out. Wait for a match. Since others have access to the list too, you may not get all of your picks. Get going. As soon as you are matched, you will be on your way. Trips completed using Trip Radar will also count towards your promotion. And this is back to what I mentioned earlier with Uber's artificial intelligence picking the winners. Uber's algorithm knows exactly at what price you'll accept rides. Meaning if you accept lowball trips offers in the past, Uber's AI will now know to send you lowball offers, while at the same time sending that same offer but a higher amount to those drivers that know their worth. In short, I believe Uber's algorithm will send different offer amounts to different drivers within milliseconds of each other and award the driver who is closest to the rider at the cheapest price. There is no beating this because Uber has now pinned us drivers against one another competing for these fares. To use another analogy, before Trip Radar, us drivers used to be players at a blackjack table working with one another against the dealer. Now I know the dealer, which would be Uber in this analogy, will always win at the end. They will always get their cut. But at least us drivers were able to work together and never against one another. But that is not the reality any longer. We are technically going to be pitted and working against one another. So what's next? We expect most people in your city to see a neutral or positive impact on earnings as a result of these changes, which started going into effect last Thursday. To help ease this transition, you are eligible to receive a special quest. If you complete 100 trips before August 25th, you'll receive an extra $100. Whoop-de-doo. Your feedback matters. What you think of these changes matters, and we may make adjustments based on your feedback. Like I said in my last video, your feedback doesn't matter, and whatever feedback you give will just be used against you by Uber tweaking their algorithm in the future to help them out. Not us, not you. Remember this, Uber cares about their profits and their shareholders first, riders second, and drivers last. We are, as drivers, 100% replaceable. That's why I always say, have a plan B, C, or D with your side hustles that you can seamlessly go to whenever Uber changes things up. In other words, diversify your side hustles. Please comment below if this Trip Radar feature has already impacted you and how. And please let everyone know the positive and negative effects of your earnings and productivity in the comment section below. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Please check out my channel and subscribe, and if you have done so already, I shall see you in the next episode.